So this video was originally supposed to be a long-form essay dissecting an entire video game from top to bottom, but, well, that didn't really work out because it turns out that trying to imitate the style of a creator you like, even if you really do intend to make something good, doesn't really inspire creativity in yourself. Who would have guessed? So I like the channel To Snakerer. He's a very funny man who reviews a wide variety of games, everything from old forgotten jank to latest releases. And he does it in this long-form video essay manner that most people are going to be familiar with on YouTube at this point. I like his sense of humor, I like his style, I like the games he picks because he finds some weird stuff or some interesting things that you might not realize is out there. So I wanted to make some type of tribute to him by reviewing a sloth jank game in the same vein as my favorite video by him, his Neuro video. And the game that I found through his content to do in this tribute was called Operation Matriarchy. Now, I already knew about Operation Matriarchy from my years of watching Tat's Top videos, where it was in the now deleted, I think, 100 Worst Games of All Time video.
This video contains strong language, used in a funny context. Number 91. Operation Matriarchy.
This game has one of the strangest storylines to ever show up in an FPS game ever, where a virus turns all of the women in some space colony into a hive of men enslaving monsters. Your character wakes up from a sleep capsule. The game looks particularly good, except suffers from a huge amount of problems. These include enemies that are dumb as bricks. There's no decent AI behavior, meaning they just rush the player mercilessly. The extremely cramped level design makes fighting and navigating extremely confusing and frustrating, and the animations are simply laughable. The sound effects are annoying, and there's absolutely no music at all.
Man, just thinking about that intro with the geth, like, you know, this video contains disturbing content, violent content, jump scares, and loud noises. Viewer discretion advised. I didn't even know what a geth was back then, but I sure knew what that was. Operation Matriarchy was on that list, and for some reason this game in particular caught my eye. I think it was the logo. The logo really stuck in my mind. It reminded me of a Windows 96 album, which I didn't know about at the time, obviously, but I figured out later that was kind of my aesthetic. So I wanted to make this complicated, interesting video essay with the same playing format as one of To Snaker's videos. I made a shitty thumbnail, I started writing a script, I recorded myself playing through the entire game in one sitting, and mined the files for anything interesting that I could find, and lost steam and stopped working on it. But during my research into Operation Matriarchy, I actually did come across a couple of interesting things. First off, this is a game that is in a larger universe. It's part of a series, a franchise. The other games in this franchise are called Echelon and Echelon Wind Warriors, and they're flight sims, pitting humans against this alien race. But the games were published in the West by Bethesda Softworks, which I found very interesting. I also have this book, The 10th Planet, which is a tie-in novel for a game that was being developed by Bethesda or published by them, maybe both.
We actually had a project that kind of died on the vine here called 10th Planet a long time ago that ended up being like kind of an open space shooter sim. Didn't follow a particular mission structure. It was more like an open-ended science fiction game. But that never came out. It never like went that far past pre-production here.
That never got made. like it's a full trilogy of novels, and I have the first one here for a Bethesda game that never was. The ultimate battle for survival begins this winter. Bethesda Softworks cordially invites you to witness the next revolution in computer games as you join the desperate fight for humanity against the diabolical aliens of the 10th Planet, featuring unparalleled 3D graphics, lush cutscenes, and intense action double exclamation mark. In this fast, furious action game based on the suspenseful science fiction book The 10th Planet, the one in your hand,
you'll take to the skies as part of an elite strike force set to save the Earth from the alien onslaught. Battle high above the Earth in futuristic fighters. Feel the G's as you engage in intense dogfights against never-before-seen alien fighter craft. Use the latest in 3D technology. The 10th Planet brings the epic struggle to your computer screen with exceptional graphics and detail that will make you feel like you're really there. Coming this winter to a retailer near you. Why wait to join the fight? Pre-order your copy of The 10th Planet via our secure server at www.bethsoft.com and receive a free copy of X-Car Experimental Racing with your order.
credit cards only. This book was written to advertise a Bethesda game that never came out. And they made 2 more books after this. So in these games, the aliens are like a big hive mind race. Like, think about the Borg or the Many from System Shock. The assimilation alien. You know the type. Reapers. It's a staple. And Operation Matriarchy is kind of a tie-in game telling a disconnected story set in the same universe. You play as a guy named Paul Armstrong, and he's on a starship that's being raided by the aliens who are made exclusively of mutilated women. Yeah, the aliens in this universe like abduct females and they Borg them, but just the women. Operation Matriarchy came out in 2005 and it was a mess when it was released over here. All the music except for the main menu soundtrack was missing in the game, and it was missing so many more sound files as well. Now, granted, the main menu music is a bop. But this game is Slav jank. Here's some of that gameplay I recorded for the long video that never was.
Oh my god! Commander Horst!
Armstrong, it's you. I'm glad you made it. Now listen, I need your help.
Yes, sir.
I'm not gonna let those perverted monstrosities take over this ship. You understand?
What do you mean, sir?
Your last mission is this. Find the colonists, kill the Velians, and save my daughter. This is her necklace. Now, leave me behind. I'm dead anyway. Go!
Self-destruct sequence activated. Abandon mission.
This video contains...
The game is bad. It's an unambiguously bad game. I didn't mind playing through it. The combat was responsive enough, and I didn't find it too difficult to the point of being frustrating. In fact, if anything, it could be rather easy at times. There's this one room where they just stuff it full of mech suits for you to take, and then the whole level is just mech suit after mech suit. And you're wondering, was there trying to be any kind of difficulty here? But that didn't stop people from trying to make it better. After its release, a couple of people modded in a soundtrack to replace the missing one with music taken from another game called Shadowgrounds. That was where the music came from. Everything except the main menu track came from this other game that was just surgically transplanted into Operation Matriarchy, and it's the music you hear in the background of the gameplay. But, you know, that's not Operation Matriarchy's music. It's music from another game being stamped in there. It's the same reason why when I played the House of the Dead remake, I didn't mod in the original arcade music. I thought the music was fine. But, you know, in this case, when it comes to Operation Matriarchy, it's still not the game's music. I don't know if this game ever had music beyond the main menu theme. It might just not exist. And then I noticed something. When I was doing research for Operation Matriarchy, one of my main sources was Keith's Crappy Games blog. This is a blog maintained by Keith Duffy. It's been inactive for several years, but it chronicles a bunch of bad games, most of them first-person shooters. And on this list is Neuro. Keith Duffy's website was a major tool into Snaker's video because Keith had been responsible for the original translation of Neuro, where he transcribed the whole game letter by letter from Russian to English before this maniacal full translation just popped out of the ether that Snaker used. But that's how I found out about Keith's website, about the man himself and his blog through Snaker. And when I went to Keith's website, he had an entry for Operation Matriarchy as well. And I thought, oh, this is good. This is a direct connection to the guy who I'm making the video for with a similar source he used for my favorite video of his. I should read this blog post and I should use it in the video. And then I noticed at the bottom a note by Keith. He had made a custom soundtrack for Operation Matriarchy. Completely whole cloth. He thought that the music, though fitting the action, wasn't quite to his tastes. So instead of sticking with the transplanted music, he made his own soundtrack for this forgotten Slav jank game. That was fascinating and something I had to look at. But there was a problem. The problem was that every single link I could find leading to that soundtrack was dead. Every single one. I couldn't find this music, and this direct connection to Snaker through Keith Duffy meant I basically had to, if I wanted to feel any kind of, correctness in making this video. The guy who is the guy that the YouTuber used as a source in his video about the game made music for the game I'm looking at now. I can't not get that music. That would be stupid. But I couldn't find it, so I had to find the guy instead. So I did what I have often done during times of duress and turned to Ross Scott. These two gentlemen in Ross Scott's Discord server helped me track down an email address for Keith Duffy along with his Steam profile and a whole bunch of other things, and also helped me learn that Keith Duffy is an associate professor of English at Penn State. I mean, I don't know who I was expecting to be the person to make a custom soundtrack for a Slav jank game, but it wouldn't be an English professor. I have an English degree on my wall. I can't do that shit. But the email address was still active and I was able to contact Keith himself. His blog was not being used at the time, and the last update on the comments was like from 2017, 2018. Well before it was clear he wasn't using this website anymore, or at least updating it very infrequently, if at all. So the email was the best chance I had to, talk to the guy. I asked Keith if he still had the soundtrack he made, and he told me that I contacted him too little too late, and that all the data on his old Penn State web space had been wiped. He tried to see if any of the links that he had posted were still active, and none of them were, and it seems like the only hope I would have of recovering this music would be if it was installed to a hard disk that he had at a place he wasn't even, staying at the time. But in a moment of just pure luck, it turns out he was able to talk to the tech staff at Penn State and recover the information from the deleted web space before it was permanently lost. And he got the soundtrack back. He saved it from being burned when it was already in the fire. And he uploaded it to Google Drive and he sent it to me. And he updated his Operation Matriarchy blog post to have the link leading to the Google Drive. I probably prompted him to update his website for the first time in actual years. Holy shit.
Commander! Commander! Damn it! I hope he's okay.
First off, Keith, thank you very much for your help in this matter. Sorry this video didn't come out sooner. I know you asked to be emailed about it. Your patience is infinite, especially considering this isn't exactly the format that you or I were expecting it to be in. But it's being done, and that's better than having nothing exist at all. And it's better than sitting on almost literally destroyed and lost media without doing anything with it, So thanks for your help, bro. I should probably refer to a professor with some more respectful terms. Thank you, sir. I put the link to the music in the description below in case you're interested in checking it out. It's a custom soundtrack for a bad game, but it was almost lost, and just by a coincidence of destiny, it seems it's now not. Also, thank you to Mad Lad and Sunny for helping me contact Keith in the first place, and thank you to Ross for having me be a long-term enough fan that I was able to make use of the resources of the absolute nutcases that he calls fans, which I include myself among the number of, to do this in the first place. It reminds me of his preservation of the Rama soundtrack, even though that was probably less fraught with imminent destruction, considering this was literally the only place in the world where it would have been. Yeah, I think that's... Oh, and I have to take this moment to gripe, because in my Operation Matriarchy research, I came across the hottest bullshit, and like most hot bullshit, it comes from TV tropes. Any of you who watch Civ 11 probably know about the game Creed. It's another Slav-jank FPS game with weird qualities like Operation Matriarchy. They're in the same boat. TV Tropes takes Creed and Operation Matriarchy and puts them in the same cabin and makes you listen to the door as they have the nastiest sex you've ever heard in your life. They made this bizarre connection between the games based on the surnames of their protagonists, specifically protagonists in an expansion to Creed, not even the main game, who's also named Armstrong, hinting that they take place in the same universe. At the meeting of the 10th Planet Project, Shane told them all what the crew would have experienced. Deep, intense cold at temperatures unfathomable for normal humans. Cold that killed over a number of hours, long before the oxygen would run out. He said that freezing was an easy death. They had simply gone to sleep. If that's an allegory for the board meeting, then I'm still waiting for the 10th planet, Todd. Give it to me, Todd!